In 1873, in Arizona Territory, an unnamed loner wakes up in the desert. His name is Jack, he is wounded and has a strange metal weapon on his wrist. He is shocked to see it and tries to remove it but fails. He finds a woman's photo but doesn't recognize her. He hits the shackle with the stone but still fails to unlock it. A few minutes later, some cowboys arrive and ask him for directions to town. He looks at them in surprise and doesn't answer, they think he's probably dumb. Seeing the wound, one of them takes him as a criminal and their leader threatens him. Jack quickly beats them all, then wears the man's clothes, takes the horse, and leaves. After riding for miles, he reaches the nearby town. Jack ties the horse and walks into the house but finds no one inside. He washes his face and looking at his wound, takes a sip of whiskey. Meacham, the house owner, takes him at gunpoint, and Jack says, "I've been shot." Meacham asks, "Who are you and where did you come from?" and he says, "I don't remember anything." He takes him to the cathedral room and looking at his wound, Meacham says it's not a bullet wound. He asks Meacham if there is a mining town and he says maybe, but I'm just a priest. Meacham stitches his wound and then walks out to see Percy Dolarhyde, a volatile drunk who has been terrorizing the town. Doc asks him to stop shooting because it's bad enough he drinks for free. Percy says, "The town runs because of my father and with our business, nothing comes into the town and you are asking me for money." Percy calls him over to settle his payment while Jack also watches him. Percy insults him and Meacham goes to stop Percy. Percy starts taking money from the people and when he goes to Jack, he ignores Percy. Jack beats him and starts to leave but Percy shoots and the bullet hits Doopty. Sheriff arrives and Percy says it was an accident but the sheriff doesn't want to listen to him. Percy's man asks Sheriff to leave and he says there's nothing I can do and leaves. 3 men are feeding Dolarhyde's cows and suddenly, a bright light appears and destroys everything except one man. At the police station, the sheriff tells Percy, "You shot Doopty, and sending you to the Santa Fe court." Percy says, "You better let me go before things get in my father's hand." Sheriff sees Jake's poster with $1,000 bounty on his head. Customers at the bar make fun of Doc as Percy but he can't do anything. Doc asks his wife to leave the town saying he can do nothing to protect her. Maria says, "This restaurant is our dream and I'm not leaving you," but he leaves angrily. Jack arrives at the bar and Maria gives him whiskey saying he did great to beat Percy. A woman named Ella Swenson arrives but Jack keeps drinking. She asks about the bracelet and Jack says, "There's something you know about me." Ella says, "I need your help and you'll get your memory back," but Jack doesn't show any interest. Jack feels the sheriff's arrival and asks her to move away. The sheriff asks him for the station and Jake refuses saying, "You are taking on the wrong guy." The fight ensues and after beating them, Jake points the gun at the sheriff but Ella knocks him out. Jake visions a woman and people staring at the giant creature. He wakes up in the station where Percy says, "My father is coming and he'll make you suffer." Jake hits him with the bars while on the other hand, Woodrow Dolarhyde ties up the man with horses, thinking he might kill his cows. The man says there's a bright light which burned everything. Woodrow doesn't believe him and Nat arrives telling him about Percy's situation. He gets angry at the sheriff and tells Nat, "You failed to protect my boy." Before they can leave, Nat tells him about Jake and says, "We need more men." Seeing Percy unconscious, the sheriff asks Jake, "I'm turning you over to the federal." Jake asks, "In what crime?" And sheriff says to him, "An assault and hijacking," and shows his wanted poster. It showed Jake robbed the stage in the last with Pat Donal and Mach 8, but Jake didn't remember this. Sheriff also tells him about the woman. He says, "You kidnapped a whore and trade in the next bounty." Before they can leave, Ella arrives and again asks for his help but Jake doesn't want to talk to her. The sheriff's grandson appears and asks him not to go. Sheriff says, "It's my job," and tells him to go home. Woodrow arrives with his man to take Percy. He sees Jake and tells the sheriff, "I need this man as he stole my gold," and the sheriff says, "I can't do it." Suddenly, the whole town sees a bright light from afar. Jake's shackle starts beeping and the alien's craft begins attacking the town. Percy, the sheriff, and many other townsfolk are grabbed by aliens and the other don't know how to stop them. Jake's shackle unfolds and becomes a weapon, shooting down one of the ships with a single shot, ending the attack. Jake and Woodrow go to check the ship but find no one inside. They see the alien kill a woman and escape while they see its footprints. Woodrow asks his man to ready the saddles, they will hunt it in the next dawn. Woodrow asks Jake to go with them and after slapping each other, Jake agrees. The next dawn, Jake alone sets out to find it and Ella starts following him. Meacham preaches to the people about Moses and the monster. Jake grabs Ella and asks what she wants and she says, "They also took my family." She says, "We can kill them with your weapon," but Jake asks her to stay away and leaves. One of the men tells Woodrow the aliens might kill our people and he says they were roping people. Woodrow, his men, Doc, the preacher, his grandson, and Ella sets out to find the alien. Jake reaches the house from his visions and goes inside. He visions himself with a woman and shows her the gold he stole, but she asks him to return it. Suddenly, a bright light appears that melts the gold and takes the woman. Jake returns and joins the party while Woodrow asks him about his gold. Jake says first find those and then you can take your gold, but Woodrow says the bounty on you would be a better option. Due to the rain, the tracks are washed away and they decide to stop at a shipwreck. Inside, Nat asks Woodrow to call the army and he refuses, saying we can't wait for the army. Woodrow gives Meacham's son a sharpened knife and asks him to keep it safe. Meacham teaches Doc how to shoot, but he doesn't hit a target, which angers Doc. Jake is cleaning his wound, and his weapon starts beeping, indicating the alien's presence. The alien kills a couple of their men and then moves for the boy. Just before it can kill the boy, he attacks the preacher. Jake shoots him, but the alien escapes and kills Meacham, who sacrifices himself to save Emmett. The next morning, after burying their comrades, they start heading north. Woodrow explains to Emmett that in the life ahead there are many dangers to be faced and to be a man. They find traces of blood that point to the hill, and when the party reaches there, they are surrounded by the gang. A man named Hunt recognizes Jake as their boss. Jake punches Hunt and breaks his tooth and asks him to bring them to the remaining camp. The camp's new leader Dolan demands his gold from Jake. Jake doesn't remember anything and Dolan says you abandoned us for a girl and stole our money. Dolan takes Ella as that woman and calls her whore. Jake gets angry and they hit each other. Jake's weapon activates and shoots Dolan, killing him. Everybody drops their weapon and Jake leaves with his team while Hunt's group starts chasing them. The alien arrives and starts attacking them. They capture many of them again. Jake shoots and damages the ship, but it ropes Ella. Jake jumps aboard the ship and attacks the alien pilot, causing the ship to crash and fall into the water. The monster attacks Ella, but before she dies, Jake kills the beast, but Ella is fatally wounded. Jake picks her up and starts walking towards the city. On the way, they meet the rest of the companions. Doc checks on Ella, but she bleeds to death. However, the posse is captured by Chiricahua Apache Indians, who blame them for the alien attacks. As Ella's body is dumped on fire by a Chiricahua warrior, she is fully resurrected. Ella reveals herself to be an alien who traveled to Earth to help resist the invaders after they destroyed her home world. The aliens, who have been abducting humans to perform experiments, are also mining gold to power their machines. They are not invulnerable, however, Jake's gauntlet weapon can kill them, as well as stabbing and shooting them, though the creatures are far stronger and more durable than humans and have superior weapons. Ella claims Jake holds the secret to the aliens' whereabouts and says they must stop them before they exterminate all life on the planet. After taking medicine offered by the Apaches, Jake recalls that Alice was euthanized after she was used in an alien experiment, but he escaped, inadvertently stealing the alien weapon in the form of a gauntlet. He could also remember the location of the aliens' base of operations. Armed with this knowledge, the group, now led by Dolarhyde, prepares to attack the aliens' grounded mothership. Jake returns to his old gang and persuades them to join the fight. In a sneak attack, the humans breach the spaceship by destroying the shuttle bay, forcing the aliens into a ground battle. Jake and Ella board the ship and free the captives, but Jake is captured. Dolarhyde rescues him and both men escape the ship after killing the alien responsible for Alice's death. As the remaining aliens are taking off in their damaged craft, Ella sacrifices herself, destroying the ship using Jake's gauntlet. Jake's memory partially returns, and some abducted townsfolk begin to remember their past. Still, a wanted man, Jake decides to leave. The sheriff and Dolarhyde say they will claim that he was killed in the invasion. The citizens intend to rebuild the town with the expectation that the newly discovered gold mine will soon bring many new settlers. Jake kindly rejects Dolarhyde's offer to help rebuild the town, and rides away. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing videos.